it's often that the biggest breakthroughs and creative breaks come from those chunks of time where you're doing nothing or reading or learning or meditating or traveling or hanging out with friends. It doesn't come from being swamped with the day-to-day, right?
I just lost all my energy.
I thought you were lagging on Riverside. You actually just blacked out instead.
Make the noise.
Old time's sake, baby. Welcome to the Smart Nonsense Podcast, episode 110 something.
Oh, for a second I thought it was 101, but then I realized we shot a lot more than that. We just released 100 today.
We just released 100. We released it with a trigger warning. I don't know if things have changed since, but people. Oh, you're chewing gum. You're chewing gum. People go watch us on YouTube.
Hey, I'm using my iPhone. I'm using my iPhone as webcam.
I'm excited to see what it looks like after, because it looks like shit on Riverside.
Oh, no, it looks good on my end.
I'm stoked for you, Pop. Pop, what do we got going on today?
I tried to log into Riverside. This was back in the day when no software company figured out how to shoot remote podcasts. And so we switched. We tried Squadcast at first, then a little bit of Riverside. That shit the bed. Then we went over to Zencastr, and now we're back to Riverside. And I went in, and I'm like, let me make a free trial account. And it's like, bitch, you already got an account. I'm like, you bet we did. You bet we did. Here's what we're talking about today, Belky. I don't actually know. I really don't. Well, I got a couple things that are interesting.
This is what's interesting is there's this funny shift in the podcast thing where we did remote for a long time, and then you came here and we couldn't look at each other because it was weird. Then we got really used to that.
Oh, remember
and now going
that?
Back to remote. Yeah.
Dude, that was it Money? One of the first episodes.
It was Money.
We were right next to each other, and I'm like, I don't like this. I really don't like this. 50 or 80
or something. Yeah. And now I'm like, well, what is this remote thing? I don't know, Pop. We're going to be remote in October. We got to figure it out.
It's funny because we're like a bike distance apart, but we're
sir.
We got to go remote.
Hey, why don't we kick it off with your brain blast? Because we haven't had one of those in a while.
Well, that's the thing. I wanted to... Oh, I got iMessage here. I was going to say I wanted to look at my phone, but it's a camera. Well, one thing's first. I realized I was listening to one of our podcasts. I don't know if I just spoke a real sentence or not. But I was listening to one of the podcasts, and maybe 99 launching Clipped. Yeah, it's a good podcast. We were kind of teasing like, hey, stay along to the end because it's a fucking awesome ride and we got some juicy details. I could only make it 15 minutes in. I'm like, fuck. I know there's good shit just packed in the end. And we often come into the podcast like today. We have no idea what the fuck we're going to talk about for the most part. It's a tangential podcast. But
Tangerine.
After the fact, let me finish. After the fact, we can go in and post and do what I sent you, Ali Abdal, what he did with some of his videos. He'd have a little table of contents at the start. It's like, yo, if you want the juicy juice, go to this section. If you want this part, go to that section. And it just gives you a little itinerary about what we're going to go through.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch it. I'm wondering though if it's dependent on mood. Because yesterday was a day. And I think we talk about it. But I guess I didn't watch it, but I listened to that episode. I was like, this is great content. I thought it was funny. It was a lot of fun. It was high energy. It was good brain blast.
It is great.
Good brainstorm. So was it the actual post-production?
No, it's just...
Or were you just kind of...
No, dude. It's like you go on Netflix, half the people, oh, nice, we just posted a video. I love seeing that. I'm like... Oh, that's dope, dude. He's got a nuke in this thing.
Pop, I think the larger problem is we were writhing all of yesterday. We'll probably continue writhing the rest of the week. I went on this podcast yesterday with Jeremy. He talks to creators and stuff. He was asking me all these questions at the end of the podcast. I was like, that's exactly where we're at today. We have no idea what to do next. We don't know where we want to take this thing. We don't know what direction to go in. There are 3 to 5 amazing opportunities. They're all hard. How do you pick which one, right?
Those are only the ones we're seeing, too. We're often blind to the best opportunities until we get a little wano or some... I mean, that's the thing. What's crazy to me is I'm fucking like... Yesterday, I was just texting Naval. We were shooting the shit.
And
I'm like, this is fucking nuts, dude.
What were you guys talking about?
Just some. I don't know what the fuck we were talking about. Oh, well, it was me like, yo, dude, I think like we should do this strategy. And he's ripping back and forth. And he's like, he's on the email list now for the mentor stuff. So
wait, I thought that was Nivy that you gave some feedback to.
I did. And then Nivy's like, yo, just go straight to Naval with
what
this,
a day.
Dude. And I'm like,
what a day. Okay, so shareholder letter 1 goes out. That was... Did we
let me get a
that
screen share. Let me get a screen share.
No, Pop. So
wait,
for
just
the
a little tease.
For the people listening to audio, we talked with a Now advisor last week who was like, yo, put together a shareholder letter, hold yourselves accountable, send it bi-weekly, send it to your mentors. If they offer feedback, great. If they don't, you're at least, on the line for what you said and what you're building. Episode 1 or shareholder letter 1 went out yesterday, I think to critical acclaim, silence mostly. But I think 3-ish advisors reached out and liked it. So that's cool. Also, we're going to play this now. So also, instead of post-production, them putting like a high-fidelity version of this shareholder video over our video, we're just going to have your screen grab.
How about that?
So we started this thing on the production of the pod sucks. And here we are.
Can't stop me.
It was sick. It was sick. Kudos to Koi.
There's some top secret business details there that we had to keep awake. But granted, I think
there goes my camera.
So basically, what was super cool is we're just sending this out. It's kind of like what we do with squatter marketing. We're just like sending out potential value into the world. Oh, quit it. And this is the same thing, right? We're like, hey, super low ask. We're already talking to these people, or we got their emails. Some we even just put on the email list and we're waiting for them to back out if they want. That's kind of illegal, so don't do that on a big scale. But this is fine. So we just add them and we ship it off.
Funny. Did you send it to Chamath?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still hasn't said if we could do that, but he responded about his clip. So, I think we asked.
Hey, he's in it. He's in the email list now. It's in it until proven guilty. So yes. They're all in it. And what's cool is like, sure, some of them see it, some of them respond. Like who responded yesterday? We got a couple.
Darmesh
hit us back.
No, the best one is Nivy, Naval's sidekick. Commented on YouTube.
What the fuck did he say? Let me open up this thing again. He commented, and Naval's sidekick. He says, "Thus spake smart nonsense."
He's one of us, Pop.
Thus spake? What the fuck does that mean?
Thus spaketh. He's one of us.
And then I responded with a.
Oh, don't do it, Pop.
Gardyloo! Dude. Oh, Gardyloo, dude. Did you listen to that Smartless podcast I sent you?
I've listened to it before. Look at my angle right now. Go on YouTube and look at my angle. This is what we're dealing with. I've listened to it before. What about it was so good? Let's take the tangent, Pop.
Colbert did he did a Gardyloo.
He did a Gardyloo?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
I don't know what's real and what's fake at this point, but it was supposedly Stephen Colbert. Actually, it's probably fake, but I believed it at the time. Stephen Colbert and Conan, because Conan doesn't have friends. He hit up Stephen. He's like, let's go skiing together. They're on the chairlift, and Colbert's just like fucking talking about why this one fake war veteran's interviewing all these I don't fucking know the guy's name, but they're just shooting the shit. It's funny. And then there's a bunch of kids start skiing, and like, you see all the kids like that suck, and you're judging everybody as you're going in the chairlift. Well, a bunch of these little like training school kids come in doing their little pizza down the mountain. Conan goes to Colbert and he's like, yo, watch this. I think I can shit all over him. Wait, I don't want to spoil it. I guess I already spoiled it.
I know, he tells it so well.
I know, it's a fucking... God, I just butchered Pop. That story.
It's too late. No, you didn't. You didn't, but you're going to spoil it.
He Gardylooed him.
Wait.
What is...
Yeah, what is Gardyloo?
Gardyloo! So it's back in Edinburgh, back in Scotland, way back before they had indoor plumbing. Everyone just threw their shit in the street. So you'd be on the third floor and you're like, Gardyloo! As you throw your shit right out into the street and hope it doesn't hit anybody. It's like, heads up, my shit's coming. That's what Gardyloo means.
Okay, so two things. When I listened to that on when I listened to Stephen Colbert tell it, I didn't know what Gardyloo was at the time because you found the word.
He also didn't say that word.
Oh, you're just saying that's what it is.
I'm saying he did the equivalent of that.
Well, my second thing is we spent an hour last night going Gardyloo, Gardyloo.
We have a couple of these little noises that I really like. Our team's gonna be so pissed. They're like, so you're shooting. These are the quality podcasts you're shooting now.
So you guys talk about you take 6 tangents in the first 15 minutes and talk about shitting on kids.
You try to have a little table of contents. How are we going to table of content this? Gardyloo? Is that the name of the section?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're saying our problem on this podcast is the production quality sucks. First of all, good luck keying me out in the clips because I am crazy angle and I've got a microphone in front of my face. Second off, you say production quality sucks and now we're on Riverside screen sharing. Good luck.
Hey, we don't know. This could turn out to be great. I have no idea.
No, what's good about this is it does fit in one of our content buckets, and that content bucket is nonsense.
I think that's all we got these days.
This is probably
we
below
only have
that,
one bucket, and we're throwing it out. It's shit we're throwing out in the street. Gardyloo!
Here's something we need to talk about. And then people...
Please push this forward. I'm losing my shit.
Okay, 2 things. One, we need to tease the facts that I think you have a no rules framework.
Oh, I do.
Second, part of your brain blast. Before we talk about no rules. God, my angle is so beat.
Your camera's also 240p.
We want to celebrate with the team Erica's vacation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you texted me that at 12:23 a.m. We should celebrate Erica's vacation on game day. Ask her what she did. Encourage others to do too. You want to elaborate on that, Pop?
Yeah. So, I mean, the point is this. we don't really take vacation. You took the first official vacation.
It was nuts.
A week ago. Went to Iceland. You were pretty much off the grid for 10 days. I was struggling. I blew up our most important relationship. That's fine. We'll figure it out. But the point is, you got to rest, relax a little bit. Our team has been grinding for months and months and months. And granted, they can't really go out because it is still half quarantine. I don't know what the fuck it is over there in the Philippines. But when we want to encourage them to just like take a fucking like meditation break. I don't know if you can go outside, but whatever it takes, like go to some spa or whatever it might be. I don't know what Erica did, but she did have some like, I don't know. She had a week of just hanging out on PTO, doing her thing. And we're like, we like that. We want to encourage that. We want to tell everybody, go out and like fucking take a breather. You don't need to be consumed with editing 24/7.
And Netflix's big thing is like, it's often the biggest breakthroughs and creative breaks come from those chunks of time where you're doing nothing or reading or learning or meditating or traveling or hanging out with friends. It doesn't come from being swamped with the day-to-day, right?
I just lost all my energy.
I thought, this is funny. I thought you were lagging on Riverside. You actually just blacked out instead. The problem is, and I know this is going to be a problem for Erica because I pinged her in like 15 different group chats. When you come back, especially my week last week,
it's overwhelmed.
It's overwhelmed. There's just a mountain of crap. So I don't know how to solve for that. I tried to put a little palm tree next to my name in Slack, and I think that someone like Dan, he just tweaked out because he couldn't get a hold of me, and then that actually turned into a bigger urgency and ASAP thing. And so then Dan saw the palm tree. He's like, is Henry on vacation? What the fuck? Reaches out to you. He tweaks you out. And then I had to solve that. So that...
And you can go back and listen to probably The Audacity or a couple episodes after that where we break down everything that happened. Hey, so...
What's your framework? We made it this far.
Here's the framework, right? Well, no one else has. That's the bummer. But I like the framework. So we're taking no rules. And Netflix is amazing because they're on the cutting edge of creativity. It's beautiful. They just, for example, they started off mailing DVDs. That was fucking a shit business back in the day. Blockbuster was like, you're a joke. Blockbuster had the opportunity to buy them for $50 million. They're like, no fucking way we would do that. That makes no sense. Flash forward 20 years, Hey, who's winning? Blockbuster ain't got shit. So what happens? Basically, they have...
There's one left.
They have... I know, and it's their OG one, and who knows, it's like in fucking Wisconsin probably. But they have... Essentially, their company runs on no rules. They just establish this culture where... Well, let me break it down in the framework. It runs so well, and it's just this fucking innovation genius because the culture that they established. So this is how they did it. And I call it the 3 C's. I'm breaking it down for smart nonsense.
Do you?
The 3 C's. So the first one, this is kind of adapting their framework to ours in a more tangible way. I don't know. I just thought about this at like midnight. So this is the first
Take it or leave it.
I'm airing it. Number 1, the first C, called C.H.I.M.P. We want people to be a chimp. Okay. What the acronym stands for, I don't really know. It's kind of nested acronyms. I forgot what it means at this point. But it's basically like I should probably remember it.
Let this be an example that acronyms suck ass. You came up with that acronym. I love it. I think it's brilliant. Neither of us know all the letters. Yes, we can internalize it, but yeah.
Hold on. C.H.I.M.P. Communicate. Help. Impact. Master. Play. It should probably be shorter. That's too many, but I like all of those. Like we want people talking, we want people helping each other. We want okay, maybe we fucking change this acronym.
No. You got to memorize it. Story brand. He's like, what's your one-liner? In that case, it's C.H.I.M.P. Test people, quiz them, pay them $5 if they get it right. Like just internalize.
I'm testing myself.
I know.
Apparently, I didn't know communicate was the C. Whatever. C.H.I.M.P is the first one. Like first, you want to build a team of chimps, aka like. They call it the A team, the dream team, the best players in the world. You just want to be surrounded by such a talent density that it's just like, wow, there's a fucking genius to my left and to my right. It's super motivating, and you can trust everyone is going to do a great job. That's the first. You got to establish that before anything. The second C, candor.
Oh, nice.
Candor. This is where you just want everyone to be honest. Like, hey, in my opinion, like this is what I think of this project. Like, I think this was great. I think this should be improved. You want people saying this all the time with their bosses. Like everyone's giving Reed Hastings, the CEO, or I don't know if he still is, of Netflix, feedback. Like there's no real hierarchy in feedback. You can give it to anybody at any time, and you want to do it as frequently as possible.
But you have to give proper feedback, right? And that's the 4 A's.
Yeah,
it's actionable.
what is it like?
Your aim is to assist. And then on the receiving end, appreciate, and then you accept or reject the feedback.
Hey, acronyms still work. How about that?
I think that's my favorite part is like, I think people get really scared of feedback because it's pitched in a way, if you don't use the 4 A's, it's pitched in a way where you feel like you have to do everything that person says. Otherwise, they're not going to like you or they're not going to listen to you or whatever. And I think what's so brilliant about it is being like, thank you for that feedback. But then the last point, accept or reject, is like, I think this is a Navalism, but like read everything and then ignore everything, right? It's like everyone's got something to say. It's only up to you to accept or reject that feedback based on the circumstance.
Yeah, that's where at least what we've been trying to do, or I try to do, is always say like, maybe consider this, or I think this, or feel free to veto, like trust your own opinion. This is just my take. Like always trying to have that qualifier where it's like overrule me, but this is just my expert opinion, if you call it that. Often isn't.
I think you are teasing that accept or reject thing, as opposed to, I think a lot of people give feedback like my answer is the right answer and it's the only answer and take it. And that's when candor sucks.
Which I know people that are like that, and it's kind of nice in a sense where you're like, okay, just default to whatever their opinion is, do it, but it creates this mindless company, and you don't want that, because then you're going to have fucking Stalin, and you don't want Stalin running your country because he doesn't know everything, and you have a giant famine, it kills half the people. Well, that was Mao. Whatever. Probably a bunch of famines over there.
I want to say we have turned this episode around. This is now high-density content.
Hey, we didn't even get to the third
Stalin.
C. The third and the last C. Okay, so we first have a bunch of chimps running around. Those are your 18 players. They're awesome. Then that's the requirement. Anyone that joins the team has to make that noise. Then number 2, we have candor. So they're all talking openly, sharing feedback, just improving each other. 3, set the context. So context. what the fuck does that mean? That's a great point. This is where you want a transparent company, because you want people to be able, these talented people, to make decisions on their own. The beauty of Netflix is Reed Hastings, like people would talk to him and fucking something Randolph, I think that was the other co-CEO or whatever, but they prided themselves on how few decisions they would make every day. Like a lot of the CEOs say, like Eric Schmidt would come to, he's the Google CEO. He would come to Netflix and they just kind of observe other CEOs and how they run the company, because fucking startup world is dope, and like Silicon Valley, they just love sharing a lot of shit a lot of the time. But they'd often say like, dude, you just took a break in the middle of the day and like everyone like comes to ask for decisions and you're like, no, what do you think? And it's like, okay, go with that. And like you make 0 decisions every day. It's fucking mind blowing for every other big company CEO. And they do that because they set the context where they want as much information available to everyone in the company. And this is what's crazy too. In No Rules Rules, they're talking about how every employee has the opportunity to opt in to essentially their shareholder letters, but before anyone else in the world gets them. So, for example, it says all the financials, all the user data, all like retention, everything that's like critical to this, to the share price and would be catastrophic if leaked. They're sending that out to the entire company, down to the fucking janitors.
But you have to opt in. They don't just do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, do you want this? It's kind of like spam if you don't care about it. I'm sure for everyone that's in like a leadership, I don't know if it's actually down to the janitors, but like everyone that has somewhat of a say gets this information. And this is fucking unprecedented for public companies, because it would cause a catastrophe of insider trading if it got
private
out.
Company? Oh, public company.
Like if you leaked this information before Wall Street, before anyone had it.
Because it's early.
And they're giving this to thousands and thousands of people. And so people, when they first join the company, they're like, fuck, did I get this? Like, is this illegal for me to have? Like, they're freaking out because no other big company would ever do this. But they do it in the sense that you are an owner of this company. You are an owner of Netflix. Act in Netflix's best interests. And so whenever we have like Pow today, this morning, he messaged me. He's like, he found this dope course. I guess he's been following this YouTube creator. He's like doing an After Effects course to teach. And Pow's like, oh, Dylan, can we get this? And we want to have it where everyone in the company knows, hey, this is how much the company is making. This is like roughly what we think is important for skills to improve and innovate. And whatever you think can help us progress, just do it. Like, you don't have to ask me to buy that. Just tell Erica, hey, I need $400 because I want to buy this course, and I can share the login with people, and it's going to be useful to multiple people.
Is that what it costs? I'm just curious.
It's like $400 or something.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Like, people, especially when it's our core competency is our After Effects skills, that's such a no-brainer because that's literally a week's pay for one person.
Right.
So if like we want people to be able to make these decisions without asking us. And that's where it comes to setting the context. Same thing with decisions in general. Just like having what everyone know, clients, how much they pay, everything like that.
Right. And I think what Netflix found, I'm going to reread, but is essentially when they gave their employees the context and told them to act in Netflix's best interest, they weren't going to like company dinners and buying Wagyu steaks and really expensive bottles of wine and champagne. No, they were eating like a salad and one beer. Because when they had all the information and they were acting in Netflix's best interest, they were,
it's like you have this guilt on you. Whereas before, it's like, oh, I just fucking write it off or whatever. And we have a lot of friends in New York that do this. It's like, oh, dinner, we'll just fucking ball out or take a private jet or whatever.
They're like, I get this money for sales each month. I have to spend it on clients. It's like,
right. So basically it's like, just, you want people to be owners, be invested, it's just more fun when you actually, like Koi yesterday asked, hey, I think instead of doing 16 or 9x16 for all these dimensions on this video, maybe we do like 3 different sizes. And he said them. He's like, what do you think? And I'm like,
yeah, that was sick.
I don't know. I default to you. Do whatever you think's best.
So this is, and we'll wrap here, but like, this is a big pitch going to a big VC. And I think what we did well is really put it in the team's hands. I was like, here's a couple clips I would pull from. Go. I haven't watched any of those clips, but it seemed like, and even you were like, these look good, but I default to you guys.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. I mean, I'm not the one animating. Whatever you think is just going to be the coolest clip you're most excited about, just do it.
And Coy,
Like, that's what's gonna come through.
one of the probably 5 that were pulled, he was like, this, I think Angel was pushing for one. He was like, this wouldn't be that animatable. So let's scrap it right here. And it's like that used to come from you and I. And it's cool to see it coming from.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do probably our own breakdown of this book because it's so important for our own team. We're going to like do a little book club with the squad. But first, to get people to like want to binge the book, which we fucking love, we want to do like, I want to do 60-second fucking summary video the same way. Like just everything for our company is 60 seconds. So I want to do that for no rules. But
we want to make shit that everybody wants to watch, even if they don't want to. It's like, it's so easy. They just have to watch it.
That was the beauty of the shareholder letter. It's like everyone can watch 60 seconds, especially if it's like high production quality.
Right.
So you just do something that's digestible.
Hey, Pop, I gotta go. But in light of the smart list guys who always sign off with figure out a creative way to get to bye, I think we gotta make ours Gardyloo.